So we did both watch Werewolf by Night. This is Marvel's Halloween special about the character Werewolf by Night. Look, I feel like I feel like they did a really good job of giving us something totally unique in the universe. I thought it was really cool. This is why I reject out of hand the idea that all the Marvel things are the same. There's a lot of things in the Marvel cinematic universe that are very much the same. That is absolutely true. More on that later. Quite literally, their latest show calls that out, and correctly. But this is very unique, and this was fun. Like if I had to give a criticism of it, I actually could have enjoyed it being longer, like an hour and a half. Like I think it kind of it could have been really fun. I mean, I think the 53 minutes or whatever it was tight, and it felt really tight, and it didn't feel too short necessarily. But I was having such a good time in that world and in this sort of like Universal monster movie part of the universe. Like I kind of wanted more. Like you could have just done a full feature film. Like it would have been kind of cool to do. So what were your thoughts?
I dug it. I think I would have had more appreciation for it if I was a fan of like, the movies of the 30s that this is based off of,
Sure.
or inspired by. But for what it was, I enjoyed it. I think 53 minutes was fine. There's not much going on, right? Like there's no
it's super basic. Yeah.
Plot, right? Like there's no real story, right? It's all spectacle, which is fine. It just needed to be, that's about as much like real regular ass spectacle that I need. And it was super fun. I appreciated the fact that this was something brand new. I appreciated the fact that, they didn't shy away from violence, right? Like we're talking about monsters here, man.
Right.
Like, and I'm very curious if this is, if this is received well, will they kind of kickstart the, monster wave, the monster wing of the Marvel universe, right? We got that military like espionage wing, we got the magic wing, we got the cosmic wing. So yeah, we need a monster wing, right?
Yeah, all the horror wing. Yeah.
Yeah. And
I think so. I think that's coming.
Yeah, I think so. I think this was just to kind of prime people, right?
Mm-hmm.
To just be like, hey, we can do R-rated movies, or we're not afraid to go R-rated or whatever, right? Yeah, I don't have much to say about it because like the story isn't the best, but for what it is doing, for what it's trying to do, I had a blast with it. I thought it was fun. Like you said, I appreciate the fact that they're taking swings, and if you think about it, like Marvel doesn't always take big swings anymore, but when they swing, it, and it's like they're swinging with very different bats, right? Like, and sometimes they hit, sometimes they miss. I think this was a hit.
It was.
And I think this was universally a hit, right? Like everybody seemed to like this, right?
Yeah, the critics rating was 91%. I'm just doing Rotten Tomatoes just as a sort of a aggregate kind of thing, does. Right? 91% for critics, 92% for fans. So that's pretty well in line. Like that's not wildly different. I mean, look, always the fans are going to be a little bit more receptive anyway, but the critics really like this too. And I think, I mean, it was kind of, it's in a way it's kind of unfair, right? Because it's like, it's playing to the classic monster movie, classic cinema. Like, of course critics are going to like it. And you've got like a few really classic actors in it and stuff like that. So I'm not shocked that they enjoyed it. But what I did like, is some of the what could potentially be like the practical monster designs of some of the hunted monsters. One of them specifically being like a very like vampire bat-ish kind of character, which I think maybe you might see something similar in Blade, right? Like I think these kind of things, like I wouldn't be surprised. I'd like to go back and watch it again. Like I wouldn't be surprised if some of these designs and things like that you see pop up in different parts of the sort of horror corners of the universe. But I thought that was cool. I mean, the reason why I said I could have gone for maybe another 20 minutes or so is more of actual the Werewolf by Night, like being in it, right? Like it was mostly he's not in it. And it was just sort of kind of flushing out that world, and then he shows up and fucking kicks the shit out of everybody. But I could have actually gone with more of him. Like that would have been kind of fun. But I like the idea of that story, which is like these like monster hunters, and they get together, and the main guy is dead, but like his body has been like slightly reanimated so he could kind of host this thing, and it's kind of creepy and weird in a lot of ways. And it had a good amount of violence and stuff like that, and I thought it just super worked. And then like I like the ending, which is it fades to color, much like like Wizard of Oz type of thing. It fades into color, kind of establishing like, yeah, these guys exist in the modern universe. Like they are in the MCU. More on that later, right? Like these folks are going to, potentially pop up in other things, which I thought was cool.
Yeah, I mean, they established that in the beginning, right? Like the narrator makes reference to the Avengers in the beginning,
right, which I thought was cool. Like, so you're not like, oh, what year is this happening? It's like, nah, it's right now. So yeah, look, don't be surprised if you see Werewolf by Night show up, or Elsa Bloodstone or whatever show up in Blade or whatever they're building to, because that seems to be pretty clear that they're trying to do something on the horror side. You got Blade, you've got potentially Black Knight. I mean, Werewolf by Night. Now you've got, potentially Punisher might be on that end. You don't know, like depending on the comics, he goes anywhere between just sort of the practical street kind of characters to sort of the horror characters. So yeah, you don't know. And there's still been a lot of speculation and talk about Ghost Rider at some point. So I mean, once you broach Ghost Rider, I mean, all hell breaks loose at that point. You can bring in anything. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought Werewolf by Night was really fun. So more of that. Do stuff like this.